The hospital corridors were always filled with the quiet hum of footsteps and distant voices. But for Dr. Yulong, mornings never truly began until he reached the small nurses' station where Mei worked. She was already there, arranging files with her usual gentle focus, the soft glow of the early lights reflecting in her calm eyes. "Good morning, Dr. Yu," she said with a warm smile. He nodded, though his tiredness melted a little at the sound of her voice. "Morning, Nurse Mei. Ready for another long day." "Always," she replied, though they both knew it was never truly easy. Their shifts often overlapped, and over the months they had found a quiet rhythm that made even the hardest days feel manageable. Dr. Yulong moved through the hospital with calm determination, diagnosing patients, explaining treatments, and offering steady reassurance. Mei followed with charts, careful hands, and a gentle presence that soothed anxious families. They worked as if guided by an unspoken understanding. When Yulong struggled with overwhelming cases, Mei noticed immediately and brought him a cup of warm tea, placing it on his desk with a soft reminder to breathe. When Mei grew tired after long rounds, Yulong would step in, reviewing her charts or offering to handle a difficult conversation on her behalf. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day in the emergency ward, they found themselves alone in the quiet break room. Mei sat near the window, watching raindrops trace faint lines across the glass. Her shoulders trembled slightly, worn from the emotional weight of the day. Yulong walked in, paused, then approached with careful steps. "You did well today," he said gently. She shook her head. "I kept thinking, what if I wasn't enough? What if I missed something?" He sat beside her, not too close, but close enough for his warmth to reach her. Mei, he said softly, "you give every patient your whole heart. You're more than enough." Her eyes glistened, and she let out a slow breath. "Some days it feels like the sadness never ends. That's why we share it," he replied, "so it doesn't break us." They stayed there in the quiet for a moment, the rain outside echoing softly against the window. Yulong wasn't someone who spoke much about his feelings, but Mei's presence drew honesty from him in ways he didn't fully understand. "You make this place lighter," he said quietly. "I'm grateful you're here." She turned to him, her expression softening. "And I'm grateful you're here too." The intercom eventually called them back to duty, and they rose together. Their exhaustion eased just enough to continue. Late that night, as the hospital lights dimmed, they walked down the hallway side by side. Mei held the day's final report, while Yulong checked the last patient file of the evening. Their steps were slow but in perfect sync. Before they parted, Yulong paused. "Get some rest, Mei. "You too," she answered softly. They exchanged a quiet smile, gentle and unhurried, the kind that lingered even after they turned toward their separate corridors, and in a place filled with endless responsibility. Dr. Yulong and Nurse Mei found something rare and steady, a bond built not from dramatic moments, but from small acts of care, shared burdens, and the quiet certainty that they made each other stronger.